learning to accept and kind of free me to accept other things, like, wanting to learn the balance, like, being patient with myself, learning to have a dialogue with this MS, that it's not derogative all the time, you know, that it's here and I can speak to it and I feel it you speaking to me. You got all this to say about me. You doing all this stuff to me, So let's talk it out. Let's talk it out, bro. You showed up at the door. I wasn't calling you. You came over here. So what's up? So that's kind of how I see things. And like I said, it took years to get this space,
This is a skyscraper. Are you serious? Where's my elevator? This is ridiculous.
MS can get on your nerves.
If you're living with MS or even loving someone with MS,
you don't have to face it alone.
This is On My Nerves. MS Unfiltered.
A place for honest conversation, connection, and healing.
Where we say the quiet parts out loud.
Together. All right, fam. Welcome back to On My Nerves, MS Unfiltered. And we're here today to follow up with our last episode when we were talking about navigating the changes that MS has forced us to learn, that MS has kind of forced us into a corner in a sense. And we were talking about, at the end of last episode, we were talking about learning when to push yourself and when to pull back and rest, and the balance that we find, that we have to find in living with this disease. I think, Michelle, you were mentioning that it's ever evolving, that it's not a finite place that you get to, right? Because your body, we're still aging with this disease as well, which is a good question. Now, it's just a thought. Really quick, you're older than me. How do you know, or do you know, what is a regular symptom of just you becoming more mature, or is this MS,
For me, and this might be a mind trick I play on myself. Like I told you, I have all these hacks of how I get through the day. The symptoms I have, they've stayed. Like the foot drop, that's stayed. The rectus femoris spasticity in my left leg, that stayed. The tingling in my hand, that stayed. But other than that, and the heat intolerance, that stayed. So everything that was before still is. I don't experience anything new. So there's nothing to figure out, actually, because the line was already drawn. Right. This is what it will be. And it has not moved beyond that point. I haven't relapsed in 8 years. And with that, I haven't had any new symptomatology, new sequelae. So I've pretty much been the same. So I've learned how to operate with that. And when I walk, not being able to, if I have shoes on, being very careful about, did I just put my whole foot on the floor or did I not, just double checking that. But that's something I've always done, is double checking. Did my whole foot just hit the floor or did just my toes, So that's something I've always done. And it was a symptom I had very early on in my disease, and it never went away. That's how I managed.
Would you consider that your balance, double checking, triple checking yourself? Would you consider that a balance mechanism, to double check and triple check? I think I double check, not everything. Some things I just don't care. That's just what it is. We just gonna roll with how it is. But yeah, certain things I do, double check. Man, yesterday I was getting dressed man, and I cannot button things anymore. My fingers.
Me neither. I can't button things.
My fingers do not work. They don't grasp. They don't hold. I think each of them got their own brain sometimes, and they just be dancing around doing their own thing. And I was sitting in the mirror trying to button. Like, what is going? Listen, I know that I could button. It's one button. It's one doggone button.
Wait, say it again. You were in the.
It's one button. It's one doggone button. I can get this one button, and I'm gonna sit here until I get it. But those things, but I used to get upset. And frustrated, like, why can't I, what? But I think now, I've learned to just, hey, we know this. We know that these things are hard. Just take your time. Take your time, Tim. You can still get it done. And who are you up against? I mean, yourself. It's in your brain. Right. So just relax. You'll get it. And whenever you get it, that is the time that you were supposed to get it. And just keep working at it. And then I eventually got it. But it took some time to get to there, because what do you mean it's taking me 10 minutes to button this one button?
Exactly.
Can you imagine that? 10 minutes?
Yes, that's my life too. That's why I don't wear things with buttons unless my husband is going to be around, because he will button it for me.
Yeah, button down shirts.
That's out.
Old slew? Like, no, bro.
I don't have an hour.
No.
Not for a shirt. So you adjust. And so, no. And like what you just said is the self-talk. It's a lot of self-talk and learning how to speak well of yourself to yourself.
To yourself, you know?
You have to learn how to do that. Okay, fine. I can't button this button. Change shirts. It's not a big deal.
That's a great point that you said. Learning how to talk to yourself, but also I had to learn to stop talking negative about MS when I'm talking to it. You know, I'm not demonizing it all the time, because I'm just going to, it's just going to be a hate relationship for the rest of my life. Like, I'm not trying to do that. Right. So, okay, you're here. I've accepted you. You already know where we at. Just try to stay in your lane. I'm going to try to stay in my lane and we going to live this thing together, you know, versus just constantly trying to fight it. I think that's been a balance that I've learned to appreciate about this experience. It's just not being upset at it all the time.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. That's very wise, Tim. That's very wise, because, and I think that's with anything in life that we don't like. Either you change it if you can, or you accept it, because you're going to be the one that suffers. And
that accepting it is a change. That is how you change it. Accepting it and start from there. You know, it may just not be the change in what you thought, the change that you can see yourself doing, but accepting it, for me, it's a part of the change.
Yes. Yes. And the fact that you can like see it.
Yeah.
You can identify it. Like, I've accepted this. And you're right. When you said earlier, there is freedom.
It is.
In acceptance.
Release yourself.
This is what you have. Okay.
Release it.
You're not less than. You're not better than.
Nope.
This is what you have.
Yep.
Period.
And there's a profound amount of loss that you feel that is happening around you. And yes, loss exists with this experience, but it's not everything. It's not everything. Hey, there's going to be some losses, but there are still going to be some wins. You just have to find those new interests, those new ways of being, ways of living, ways of loving, ways of learning.
Right. Yes. Everything is not an L.
Everything is not an L. Everything is not an L, even though it may look like or feel like, but everything is an L. Everything is a lesson.
Amen.
Everything is a lesson.
Yes, it is. That was very profound.
Even the losses. Even the losses.
Yes.
Or lessons.
Even the losses. Yes, that was, wow, that was amazing. That was great.
Speaking of losses.
What's up? What's up?
In the journey to finding balance, what mistakes do you think that you've made along that journey and finding balance? Did you overcorrect some things? Did you not give attention enough to certain things? How was your experience?
I think I overcorrected a lot more than I undercorrected. Remember when we talked about how I go hard?
Yeah.
I have two settings, on and off. When I'm on, I'm on. And I think I was like, so you want to come and invade my world? Okay. And I think that's the mindset I had.
Yep.
I was like, you wanna attach yourself to me? And so I think I overcorrected. What I mean by that is I worked out hard. I trained hard. I read a lot. I tried to know more than my doctor would know. I mean, I'm not going to be a neurologist, but I was trying to be as prepared as possible for everything. So I think I probably was tired and didn't know I was tired.
Yeah, Michelle, that's a lot of weight to carry like that. Trying to be prepared for, I can't imagine taking that on, trying to be prepared for everything in this MS life. When it's so many unknowns about everything and just trying to be prepared for everything.
Exactly. I didn't say I accomplished it.
Oh, yeah, right.
I didn't accomplish it, but I attempted.
Yeah. Your protection for yourself. That's the way.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the way that you were managing it, is that you wanted to be prepared for everything.
Right. I couldn't cure it, but I could prepare for it.
You can prepare for it. Man, I think a lot of people have that natural expression in response to this diagnosis. And I also think on the opposite end, some people just don't even want to deal with it at all. Not treatment, not learning, not appointments. I'm not taking medicine. And, you know, for those people, I understand where the source of the frustration and everything comes from. It is important that you treat yourself well with this disease.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you gotta find, and it's work, and it's work. It's not something that it just happens. Oh, yeah, you need the best treatment is just gonna happen. No, you have to seek it. You have to search it. For a lot of people, it takes rounds of, you know, trying to find the best doctor for whatever reasons, you know. But that's a part of the disease, is learning how to live and find the best support and care for yourself.
And that's advocacy. That's the advocacy piece.
That's the advocacy piece. Oh, man, I ignored it. I ignored it in the beginning. So I wasn't even trying to find a balance. I was stubborn because I'm not changing. What you mean? Like, no. Listen, MS, stop talking to me right now. Okay. Leave me alone about this. I did it. I want to adjust. I didn't want to have to adjust, man. I was just so focused on, I thought that I was in control of my life. And I'm learning just how vulnerable I am. And in a sense, how silly that thought is. But, you know, when you're young and living, you know, you're just young and living.
Exactly.
But the good Lord had to show me. And I'm listening. I'm listening now. But I think everything to me goes back to acceptance.
Yeah.
Learning to accept and kind of free me to accept other things, like wanting to learn the balance, like, you know, being patient with myself, you know, learning to have a dialogue with this MS, that it's not derogative all the time, you know, that it's here and I can speak to it. I feel it you speaking to me. You got all this to say about me. You doing all this stuff to me, you know, so let's talk it out. Let's talk it out, bro. You showed up at the door. I wasn't calling you. You came over here. So what's up? You know? So that's kind of how I see things. And like I said, it took years to get this space, you know, but I'm happy and I'm grateful that I'm here, that I'm able to sit here and talk about this out loud.
Yes. It takes years.
Years.
It takes years.
And
FYI, don't be hard on yourself if you can't talk about this at first. Anybody listening, this takes some serious time.
Yes. Man, and depending on, everybody's different. Just depending on how it shows up for you, don't compare yourself to other people. And especially don't compare yourself to people who don't have the disease. Because I think that's a normal tendency. Which is why I had to check out from all that. Social media, I had to, you know, like, all right, give it a break, because you're seeing other people do things that you used to do or that you would like to do. And sometimes that can play a trick on you. But not only comparing yourself to other patients, but definitely don't be comparing yourself to people who don't live this life, you know, because there is no comparison.
No.
You have to find a new way to do things for you that is specific to you. Mm-hmm. You can't think about what everybody else is doing. You have to figure out your way.
Exactly. And be okay with it.
Be okay. And everybody else, go ahead. Everybody else don't have to be okay with it too.
Then there's that. Exactly. Well, to that point, like, because this is something I was wondering about, like, what boundaries did MS force you to create as a result of that? Or did we just say that? Is that the boundary? What boundaries has MS forced you to create? I'm
naturally a yes man, in the sense that if you ask me to help you, if I can, I'm going to try to figure out a way to help. Whether it's in detriment to myself, whether it's not the right time or whatever, I'm still going to try, you know, even though I probably shouldn't have taken that on, or I'm still going to try. But now I can't. And I don't have no problem telling you I can't. The answer is no. Not because I don't want to, is that I can't do this right now. It depends on what you're asking for. Like, what kind of help do you need? Because I might not be the right person to help you in the best way. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that now. How about you?
No. Like I said, remember how we talked earlier about how I push so hard? I'm not really sure if I created a boundary and stuck to it. What I mean by that is, like, I think because my conversations with MS was, if I was to have one, you've dictated so much about my life that I had no control over. The things I do have control over, you don't get to pick. That was my conversation. So if there was any way possible for me to do it, I didn't set up a boundary because my goal was to conquer. So to me, boundaries were not boundaries. Boundaries to me were excuses. So I didn't allow myself to say, I'm setting up a boundary. I'm like, I can do that because I was proving to my MS self, you don't get to take everything from me. And so I think I unknowingly did not set up boundaries for that reason, because I was aware of what I couldn't do, but I was not willing to acknowledge what I couldn't do, because I might not be able to do it because I hadn't tried it yet. So we're going to sit here and dig in until I get it done. So I don't think, I mean, because I know that's a catchphrase in our culture, establishing your boundaries, setting up your boundaries. Right. I don't see it like that. I see it as, oh, so you said I can't? Sit back. I'll be back. I don't see boundaries as setting up boundaries. I see them as challenges that I will accomplish. That might be a sick way to look at it, but that's how I approach it. That's how I've lived with it all this time. I'm like, oh, so you said I can't? Okay, I'll be back. So I never felt the need to establish a boundary unless I physically could not do it. And to the point where I would get upset with, like, for example, like with my husband, he's like, Michelle, you need to kind of chill on this. You know, this isn't safe. I was like, it might not be safe for you, but I'm fine. He's like,
yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now he's very careful about, maybe you might want to, because if I hear anything that sounds like you can't, I respond. And so I think I've overcorrected, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. Man, I know that there are a lot of people out here who understand this. If you guys are out here and you're in this space, if you've experienced, because I've experienced some of it too. We want to hear from you guys because we know that this is a huge topic for us living with this disease and being determined. I don't want to say in spite of yourself, in spite of the disease, because what you mean no? I didn't even do nothing. What did I do to cause no? What you mean no?
Literally woke up like this.
Right.
I literally woke up like this. I woke up one day with this.
Like, huh? I understand.
You do?
Yes. I
you
understand.
did it.
I understand. And I think that's a natural thing that we all feel. And maybe, just from what I've seen in the community, maybe some people are not giving themselves permission to feel that way, or even to recognize that that is something that they're doing to themselves, and also how it may not be the healthiest approach to MS. Have you found ways in which that reaction or that approach has not been always healthy for you?
If it wasn't healthy, I didn't acknowledge it.
Didn't even see it.
Let me explain.
Didn't even see it. Mm-hmm.
You know how I've told you guys that I'm a pharmacist. A hack that I have is you don't experience side effects. If you don't read the side effect profile, then you can't look for what you don't know you should look for. So what I do, because the times I've taken medicine, I take the medicine. I'm not saying everybody should do this. I'm saying this is what I do. Because I do understand biomedical literature. I do know how to read it. I know how to decipher it. I know that. That's my entire job. It's my career. But for myself, whenever I was put on a new medication, I never look at the side effect profile. I just take the medicine and see how my body feels. If my body begins to feel different because it is an exogenous source, then I'm like, I'm not supposed to feel like that. And that's when I look back at the side effect profile and go, oh, okay, this is part of the drug. But I don't read the side effect profile. I've been put on, I'm not placed on a med. And then I read everything about the drug, read the side effect profile, and I'm like, well, I'm looking to feel this way.
That's right.
I'm looking to feel that. I don't do that.
And then
I don't respond that way.
Reading those side effects will make you not even want to try the drug.
Exactly.
It'll scare you away. So I don't do it either.
I don't do that.
Just
exactly.
We're gonna see.
I think right. I think there's wisdom in reading as much as you can, but I also understand that I can't unsee what I see. Right. And so I don't read side effect profiles.
Stress you out.
Right. And like, I have no problem, because my husband's a pharmacist too. I have no problem saying you can read it. And if I bring up something, you can tell me this
Yeah.
is on the list,
Yeah.
but I don't read it. Not because I'm being irresponsible, but I don't want to create something that does not exist.
In my mind,
Right.
every day that I'm chasing, looking for every little thing, you're trying to compare it to the whole list of all the things
Right.
that can go wrong. It's too
Right.
much. It's too.
Right. I don't want to be a hypochondriac. I want to be a person.
I want to live.
That I want to live. So to me, to answer your question, I don't seek out ways to be sick. I'm not looking for it.
Leave me alone.
So that's my way of not being a victim in my mind. To me, I become a victim when I overindulge, or I'm so curious that I'm paralyzed. Not actually paralyzed, but I'm so curious that I'm just like, I can't do anything. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do that. That's not living. Prison.
I've been there.
To me.
I've been there.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
When you focus on the things that you can't do versus on trying to figure out ways to help you do the things that you can to assist.
Yes. Yes.
And it is, man. It's a hostage situation that you find
It
yourself
is.
in. And
It is.
And it's tough to get out of that. And I've been there.
Yes.
How would you suggest to our listeners ways in which finding balance should be something that you seek in this disease versus like that like is there a work, is there a duty to find balance? And if it is, what does that work look like?
This is just my humble opinion. I think you have to, once you get past the acceptance part, I think it's wise to reverse engineer it. You look and see, what do you want out of life? And then once you see what you want out of life, your goal is to figure out how to make that happen. So if you decide, I want to be a part of my own narrative. Let me tell you what I did exactly. I wrote down these words. I want to be a part of my own narrative. I do not want to be told what I can and can't do. So what I did was deconstruct ways for me to constantly be a part of my own narrative. What that looked like for me was exercising. That looked like working, continuing my full-time job. That looks like participating in my marriage fully. And these are things that I could pull off at the time. I'm not saying I was reaching for the stars. These are things I could pull off at the time. And so I worked on making those things constant in my own world. I didn't work on being better for somebody else or being somebody else. I wanted to know, what can I do to be me? What makes Michelle Michelle? And how do I reverse engineer that to make that possible? So that's what I did. And the MS that I had relapsing remitting at the time, and it afforded me the ability to be able to do that. I'm not saying that's everybody's story. I'm saying that's what I did. That's what I did. Yes, that's what I did. What about you?
Well, I think I'm still doing it. I think it's ever evolving. I think I'm still learning more and more about myself. With this new experience in the frame, because it wasn't for a while. It wasn't even, how can I do things that I want to do. It was more like, what do I want to do now? Like, who am I now? What is this new identity that I have?
And that's a very good point, because you do have a new identity.
It's very much a new identity. It's very much new. But you still are yourself, but so much of your perception of things, so much of your reality is just so much different. And you won't ever experience it again in the ways that you used to, that you were so, accustomed to. And so.
Or even liked.
I
like the other me.
Yeah.
I like the PMS me.
Yes. Not only that, to constantly hear, it's nobody's fault. Just people who love you and like you, who constantly are like, I cannot believe this happened to you. What do you mean? You're sick? Tim, you don't do anything. You don't do anything to anybody. You're a good guy. You're a good dude. How could this happen to you? Yeah, I'm asking the same thing. But why not? I've learned to say, why not? Why not me? Well, why not? Because I don't want it to be me. But if it is me, then Let's roll.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we're here now.
Yep. We ain't got no choice.
We're here.
It is what it is. And I know so many people are like that and we want to help. This is where we are. We just want to help and give back and offer support and community.
And to give everyone with the disease, the family members, the spouses,
Yes.
the children, everybody, to give them a place where they can say, you know what, it's like a new family member
It is a new family.
that we all have to learn
Yep.
and get used to.
It's everybody.
Interact with, yes, and interact with in the best way you possibly can. You know, because it's hard, but usually things that are hard, once you master them, it ends up being special.
Ooh, that's another good topic. I know we're kind of at the end, but I just got to say, like, what do you want to master? Like, I don't know if I want to master anything. I think I just want to be a learner and a sponge of the world and perspective and experiences. But what do I want to master? I don't know if I want to master anything.
I want to master my thoughts. I want to master what I allow. I want to be able to take my thoughts captive. That's what I want to master. Because what I think and how I think about it determines the outcome. I want to master that. I want to be able to, like I told you, my little hacks of what I do.
Right.
I basically reframed of how I think of certain things so they don't feel so hard.
Right.
So they don't feel so bad.
Overwhelming.
So they don't hurt. Yes. So they don't hurt so much.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I'm learning. It's an ongoing process, but I want to learn how to master, because this is not something I'm anticipating an endpoint, but I want to be forever learning how to master my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a man thinketh, so is he.
Yep. I think that shows up in me. You know, I've had to learn not only to say no to other people, but no to myself. And when those thoughts happen, no, let's cut it right here. When I feel, you know, those depressive moments coming, you know, when I get down or frustrated because I can't do, like, you know, I have to tell myself no, let's snap out of this. All right, we just gonna try next time. We'll try again later. Let's take a break. You know, let's rest. Let's rest.
Or ask for help.
Or ask for help. You know,
because how many times do we block the opportunity for other people to be blessings to us? They're just like, well, why didn't you ask? Well, I didn't want to bother you.
Yeah.
Well, that is ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't want this burden. I don't want to add to the, you know, I'm already dealing with it. I don't want to put this on anybody else. So I fall in that bucket too of not wanting to ask all the time. And we have people who will drop at anything to help us, but I don't know. We're just not the kind of people to be like, yeah, can y'all help me, you know, whatever it is.
And that's where the family adjustment comes in. It's not just an adjustment for the patient. It's an adjustment for the whole family, because you might be up next to help me.
So we all need to understand, right? We all need to understand what's going on. Which is what our response from some of our family, some of our cousins. It's like, man, we just didn't know. They overheard us talking in the conversation, and they we included them in the conversation, and they were just like, wow, I never even knew that y'all were experiencing this stuff, to the point to where one of our cousins just started crying. She couldn't take the conversation. She was just like, wow, we know that you guys have it, but we don't know the ins and outs of everything, and we just not going to be asking y'all, you know, can you feel your leg today? You know? So, right. So it was good for them, eye-opening to them, which is what really kind of prompted me into wanting to be a part of this podcast, is because people don't know. And if we don't, you know, express it and tell them, they won't know. So
they won't know.
This is part of my motivation for this podcast.
Awesome. Well, I praise God for you.
Amen.
I'm proud of you.
Amen. One day at a time.
One day at a time. Well, thank you so much for joining us in this episode. Take care. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. None of the information is intended to diagnose or treat.
Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Be well, guys. Stay encouraged. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you in the next episode.
This is On My Nerves, MS Unfiltered. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. None of this information is intended for diagnostic or treatment purposes.
Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Be well, stay encouraged, and we'll see you in the next episode.